Story Jacky, the four-legged hero. It was a quiet, sunlit afternoon. Golden rays poured over a little garden where Agnes, an 85-year-old woman, was carefully pruning her rose bushes. Her garden was full of color and life, the kind of peaceful beauty that only years of care could create. Beside her, Jacky, her loyal Border Collie, lay peacefully on the soft grass, eyes half closed, soaking up the warmth of the sun. Every now and then, he lifted his head, watching Agnes with gentle affection, before curling back up again. When the last rose was trimmed, Agnes straightened up slowly, admiring her work. A quiet smile spread across her wrinkled face. This garden was her world. Every flower, every blade of grass held memories of her long life. She walked over to Jacky and carefully sat down beside him. The old dog stirred, let out a soft sigh, and rested his head on her lap. Agnes stroked his fur lovingly and whispered, "Jacky, you're the only one who never leaves my side." For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Only the birds singing and the rustle of leaves filled the gentle silence between them. Across the street, Chloe, a woman in her early 40s, was watering her own garden, humming a tune. A butterfly landed on one of her flowers, making her smile. Looking up, she noticed Agnes and her dog in their garden. She smiled again, feeling a quiet sense of peace at the simple, beautiful scene. But that peace didn't last for long. Agnes began walking toward her vegetable patch. The stone path beneath her feet was old and uneven. One loose stone shifted as she stepped on it, and before she could react, her body tilted forward and she fell onto the grass. The thud was soft, but the pain was sharp. Agnes gasped, clutching her side. She tried to sit up, but a wave of pain shot through her hip. "My hip. I think it's broken," she whispered through trembling lips. Jacky jumped up instantly, barking in alarm. He ran to her side, nuzzling her hand and whining. Agnes reached out and touched his head weakly. "Jacky, go. Get help," she murmured. It was as if he understood every word. Jacky turned and sprinted toward the front gate. It was closed but not locked. He pushed against the bars, barking as loud as he could, desperate, frantic, echoing through the quiet neighborhood. Across the street, Chloe was reading on her couch. The barking broke her concentration. At first, she frowned, thinking it was just a dog chasing a cat. But the barking didn't stop. It grew louder, more urgent, almost pleading. Something felt wrong. She set her book down and stepped outside. From her porch, she saw Jacky jumping against the iron gate, barking wildly. "Agnes. Mrs. Agnes. Are you okay?" she shouted. No answer. Only more barking. Then Jacky ran a few steps back toward the garden and turned around as if trying to show her the way. Chloe's heart raced. She hurried across the street, opened the gate, and followed Jacky through the garden. There behind the rose bushes, she saw Agnes lying on the grass, one slipper missing her face, pale with pain. "Oh my God." Chloe gasped, rushing over and kneeling beside her. "Mrs. Agnes, can you hear me?" Agnes opened her eyes and gave a weak smile. "My hip. It's broken. Jacky, he brought you here, didn't he?" Chloe nodded quickly, pulling out her phone with shaking hands to call 911. Jacky lay beside Agnes, pressing his head against her hand as if to comfort her. Within minutes, the distant wail of sirens grew closer. Red and blue lights flashed across the windows of Agnes's house as the ambulance arrived. The paramedics gently lifted Agnes onto a stretcher. She reached out to grasp Chloe's hand. "Thank you, my dear. And thank Jacky, too," she whispered. Chloe smiled reassuringly. "You're going to be just fine," she said softly. Jacky followed the stretcher to the gate, whining quietly as the ambulance doors closed. The vehicle pulled away down the street, leaving Jacky and Chloe standing in the golden light of the setting sun. A few days later, Agnes was back home. She sat comfortably in her armchair, her leg in a brace, but her spirit brighter than ever. Chloe had come over to visit, pouring a cup of tea for her elderly neighbor. "How are you feeling today?" Chloe asked. "Much better," Agnes replied with a smile. "All thanks to you." And Jacky. Jacky lay at her feet, resting his head gently on her lap. The warmth in the room was almost tangible, the kind of warmth that comes from kindness and gratitude. Agnes looked down at her dog, her voice full of affection. "You're my hero, Jacky." Chloe smiled. "He really is. Not every dog would do what he did." Jacky looked up at them, his deep brown eyes full of intelligence and loyalty. Outside, the sun poured through the window, bathing the room in a soft golden glow. Later that evening, Chloe helped Agnes take a few careful steps in the garden with her crutches. Jacky walked closely by her side, protective as ever. Agnes stopped for a moment, looking at both her loyal dog and her kind neighbor. Tears glistened in her eyes as she placed a gentle hand on Chloe's shoulder. "Thank you for being here," she said quietly. The camera would pull back then, capturing the image of the three of them in the golden light of sunset, surrounded by peace and gratitude. Because sometimes miracles don't come from magic. They come from love, loyalty, and the simple act of caring. Jacky, the four-legged hero. A story about kindness, courage, and the beautiful bond between people and the animals who love them unconditionally.